Hi, Gude.
Hi. Ihr habt es vielleicht schon mitbekommen, die Merch-Sachen sind da. Ihr könnt jetzt T-Shirts bestellen in verschiedenen Größen und Farben und Formen.
Und das Ganze am besten nicht nur als T-Shirt, sondern im Bundle. Weil wir brauchen ganz dringend Vorbestellungen für unsere Vinyl. Denn unser Label möchte das erst produzieren, wenn wir ein gewisses Kontingent an Vorbestellungen haben, weil dank dieser Situation mit Corona das finanzielle Risiko leider sonst ein wenig zu hoch ist.
Und zum Abschluss hört den Podcast NordCAST. Die erste Folge ist schon da.
Mit dem wunderbaren Joost von All for Nothing, den bestimmt ganz viele von euch kennen. Ein super Typ.
Also mal
It
rein.
is NordCAST #1 with the infamous worldwide phenomenon Joost van Laake. Say that.
Worldwide phenomenon. Oh God. Hi.
So listen, brother, thanks for doing this. It's a huge honor to have you as our first guest. And I've just, before we started the recording, tried to explain in my best terms of how and what this is supposed to be. I've prepared some questions for you. And if you'd like, I'd start with the obvious question, which is, can you tell the audience that might not know you personally who you are? And maybe speak a little bit about how you were brought up in the Netherlands, I suppose, and how you grew into music in general.
Whew. What one question? Joost, born and raised in the Netherlands, in the southeast, tiny town. How I got into music. Pretty much the local youth center here. Went there since I was like 12 years old or something. We had some local bands rehearsing there, and I would just pop my head in and check it out, and got curious, started playing guitar, all that stuff, and it escalated quickly. And now I play bass for and we're currently on a hiatus because our guitar player and singer have a kid together since last October. So we're taking a little break. And then, Corona cut in. So the break is going to be extended for a little
Sitting
longer.
at home, I assume.
Yeah. Yep. And besides that, I work in music. I'm a backline tech, stage manager, you name it, I'll do it. And I work for bands like Madball, Sick of It All, Hatebreed. Toured with a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Also do some more indie stuff on the side. Yeah, keeps me
Cool.
busy.
So with a bass not being your first instrument, obviously, as a guitarist, I have to ask, what brought you to the crazy decision to switch from guitar to bass?
I think it was the school band. We had like a show coming up, like a big anniversary, school anniversary thing, and they were looking for a school band kind of. And I was like, okay, I'll play. Well, we have a guitar player. We need a bass player. Like, I guess I could do that.
And you never thought about switching back or maybe broadening the horizon of other instruments?
I never looked back.
Okay.
I never looked back.
Good thing.
Nah.
Good thing, man. So probably can name a few of the bands that influenced you early on. You said you started with music when you were 12, 13-ish.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to music before that. I got into Queen as a kid. That was my personal discovery. My parents would play all kinds of different stuff, from Portuguese fado to classical to Glenn Miller, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty diverse.
Cool.
But yeah, from Queen it went to Nirvana, got a Sepultura tape. Yeah, that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah. And when did you specifically get into hardcore? And was that more the fact that you liked the scene? You said you went to a youth center thingy.
Yeah.
And did that have an effect on you?
Well, I guess it was mid '90s somewhere. I was in school, sitting next to a guy that was also into heavy music, and he gave me a couple of CDs, Sick of It All, Madball, H2O, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And there was a local hardcore band, or hardcore, punk, whatever. Our local scene was very diverse. We had metal bands, punk rock bands, hardcore bands, even hip hop groups, guys doing drum and bass, and we'd organize these little mini festivals every month or so, every other month, in the youth centers in the area. There was like 4 or 5 in the area, and everybody would go to all those shows, and they were mixed styles, mixed genres, and everybody would just party. So it wasn't an exclusive hardcore thing, but I guess the energy that I found in hardcore, and also the realness, I guess that's the right word, like speaking, not speaking just in metaphors and in riddles and in fairy tales, but actually just speaking your mind, that really appealed to me. So yeah, I guess that's really what triggered my love for hardcore music.
Yeah, same. I mean, to me, it was like I think it must have also been Sick of It All back in the day. And I thought to myself, well, I can certainly do what he does. Not as good, maybe, and not as professional, but I can play the chords that he plays. So, yeah, that's what triggered my interest. And then also, like you say, the communal vibe of it and the openness. Everyone was really inviting and friendly.
Yeah.
So, talking about when the two of us first met, that must have been right after I joined the boys in $47 million. And I think it was either the first or second show that I played with them in Darmstadt. And yeah. These dudes, I mean, they're really good buddies of mine still, but they struck me as people that were not 100% serious about music, that they saw it as maybe a side thing. They had other things to do, with Todd having a kid, me later then also becoming a father. But when you arrived, I heard about this crazy guy from the Netherlands who would never practice with us, and maybe had a day or two to get 10 or 15 songs into his head, and you listened to them on a Walkman tape, I think, even, or an MP3 player. And then
it's not that crazy.
What would you say? How did you get into that work mentality of being so serious about music? Is there a trick?
The thing is, I'm not really serious about it.
Okay.
I have fun with it, but I'm just very passionate about it.
Yeah.
I met the guys from $47 million a long time ago. I mean, it must have been like 7-8 years, maybe, along those lines. I was driving a Dutch band called My City Burning. We were on our way to Czech Republic, I believe, and we spent the night at Todd's place because they already knew each other. And sometime after that, I was dating a girl from Darmstadt, even, and met up with Todd at the infamous Lowbrow in Darmstadt, which no longer exists, I heard.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, that's a shame. Really cool place. But I met up with him there, and he was like, we're having a tour, and our bass player can't make it because of work. Last minute, it's in 2 weeks or so. Would you be able to join? Because I know you play bass. And I was playing bass for All Heads Rise at the time. And I think we were about to quit. We already announced that we were going to quit. So I checked my calendar. I was free. I made the time. And I just started practicing the songs. And the night before the tour, we met up in the rehearsal room, played the set a couple of times, and that was it.
Okay.
So
you
I
did practice that?
freestyled it a couple of times, and then I guess a year later or so,
Yeah.
you joined the band, and they asked me, "Hey, can you do one more show with us?"
Hmm.
And by then, you guys wrote a new song, and I remember having to practice that one. But yeah, one song, it's pretty easy. And the old songs I could pretty much memorize, and I have my own little way of writing out patterns and shit, kind of like tablature, but a simplified version. So I have a little cheat sheet, and I can just wing it.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah, you had written notes. That was impressed because I never do that. I tend to record my things, and when I help out in another band, I just ask the guitar player to send me a recording, and then I memorize it. So yeah, I remember that. And yeah, like I said, really impressive stuff, dude.
I mean, just follow the kick, and when in doubt, just go back to the lowest string and keep following the kick. Just look tough.
Yeah. You already spoke about one of your projects, your bands, that was on the verge of collapse, or maybe quitting due to other things that might have been more suitable or interesting at the time. But what would you say? How did the jump, the gap actually from being in a local band that would probably maybe tour in Germany, Netherlands is not that far apart, to joining an international band? How did that come about?
The international band being?
Well, All for Nothing tours international.
I mean, All for Nothing is still a local band.
Is it?
I mean, I toured way before I was in All for Nothing. With All Heads Rise, we already did Switzerland, Italy, a little loop around Europe, basically all the way into Poland, and it's all a matter of goals, setting goals, and working with people that have similar goals. To me, anyway. Like if you have people that are focused and that want to do something, that's 50% of the work. So when you're working with the wrong people that are not interested, not motivated, and just want to jam in a rehearsal room and maybe play a couple of shows a year in the area, just fine, but it's not going to help you when you want to go further. What I learned when I joined All for Nothing, one of the first things they said was, no matter what, if Sick of It All calls you to go on tour with them, you drop everything and you get on that bus. And basically, the band will move forward with or without you. Yeah. And yeah, I really dig that mentality. Like, friendships, sure, important, but when you all understand that, like, hey, the band has to move forward, we're still friends if our musical paths just lead to different areas, but the band will move forward.
Mm-hmm. And if I understand correctly, the band was already, shall we say, a household name, at least in the European hardcore scene.
Oh yeah.
Before you joined. So my question would be, for you personally, was the expectation different that you felt because you were the new guy?
To me, it's never been about replacing somebody. It's always been about playing in service of the music
Mm-hmm.
and do that to the best of your abilities.
Yeah. But
And
then,
it's never going to be exactly the same. It's always going to be different. There's a different face, probably a little different sound, different energy. It's like there's no point in copying somebody.
yeah, true.
It's like we all do in a certain way. Like we have people we look up to, like the way they present themselves on stage. I really dig that vibe, and of course you take that in and use it.
Mhm.
But there's no point in copying others, so I never had that feeling. No, I just went for it, I guess. Yeah. Stay with your eyes on the prize, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
what do I need to do to make this happen?
Mhm.
And is it realistic? And if it's not, just speak your mind as well.
As someone who has obviously not only seen one country and one scene, but you've been to Asia, you've been to most of Europe, the US, I would assume.
No, not never.
Never in
US.
the US.
No, I've played pretty much all over Asia,
Uh-huh.
all over Europe, even played in Kenya,
Okay.
which is really weird and mind blowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, scenes. It's a weird concept.
Yeah.
Like, to me, there is no such thing as a hardcore scene that's limited by a certain sound or a certain style, or especially struck me when we were in Kenya. They did it was through the Hardcore Help Foundation. They've been doing some stuff over there, setting up some shows, underground shows for heavy music. It's not so much hardcore related. It's more about the mindset. Like,
Yeah.
I want something, let's do it.
True.
And what I saw there is kids just going off on whatever heavy music there was, and that brought me back to my teens.
Mhm.
Like, we didn't care if it was metal or punk, or it was the energy that we dug, and so I there's a certain risk I feel in really the thinking in little boxes that we've been doing over the past 20 years or so within our scene, and that led to a huge divide. Like, all the metalcore bands were in that corner, and then the youth crew bands were in that corner, and then when you go to one of the festivals or tours, like a Persistence tour, or even like whatever festival, you notice the audience is all in there together.
Yeah.
Like, think about that.
True.
Like, don't divide this. Just have fun together, even if somebody doesn't sound exactly like you do. Like, in all fairness, if I have to watch 5 hardcore bands that sound pretty much the same in one night, I get really bored.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have something fresh and something different occasionally. Actually, I was listening to your record.
Oh, did you know?
Earlier, and that struck me as rather fresh sounding. So, good job on that.
Thank you.
Like, really dug it.
Yeah, cool. To get back to the question of international travel, shall we say, how would you compare playing shows in Germany to, let's say, you've already mentioned Kenya. I can assume that this is really different, but is there a European differentiation? Playing shows in England was different for me. First of all, you have a language barrier. For some people in my band, that was tough to overcome. Then again, the promoters were entirely different because we were the Germans, so they wouldn't give us any guarantees. They wouldn't even give us food in some instances. So is there something that you can speak of on your level? Is it the same? Is it different?
I'll try not to mention the war, but
Yeah.
no. It really depends. If you go on a festival level, it's pretty much the same all over Europe.
Mhm.
Of course, you'll have little differences in hospitality, but a festival in France, they'll feed you, they'll put you up in a hotel. Same goes for a festival in Scandinavia or Germany or Holland or whatever. Like, it's all at a certain international standard.
Mhm.
When it comes to club shows, it really depends. Like, sometimes you play in tiny bars. Sometimes they feed you great meals. They'll take you to a restaurant or whatever they can do. And sometimes you just have to deal with the sandwiches and cold pasta with a little hint of red sauce.
Yeah.
All happens. And advancing is also part of that process. Like, if you have a booking agency with standard contracts and writers and all that stuff, it becomes more homogenous. Like, okay, we'll have our coffee when we get in. There's going to be a couple of sandwiches. We'll have a hot meal. We kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
But when you book your own tours, it's like, just see what you can get, and that's it. Like, if they offer you a place to stay, great, you know. So, but overall, Germany is really good. German hospitality, somehow they managed to make something out of nothing.
Mhm.
Presentation is half the job. In Holland, you often see, it's like, okay, here's a package with some cheese slices and some meat slices and some bread, and they'll just throw it in the fridge and go grab it. And when you come to Germany, you'll see a plate. Everything looks nice and prepared, and some veggies on the side, and just the level of attention is pretty amazing in Germany.
Mhm.
France has gotten a lot better over time. I guess there's been more international bands touring there over the past decade or so, and the level just went up.
Yeah.
It's gotten really, like, almost a German level, kind of.
Well, they got Hellfest now for what, 10 years, so
Mhm.
that might help. A big metal festival for international acts.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of cool festivals in France, actually, even underground level stuff, just youth center level,
Mhm.
in the garden or whatever, and they really stepped up their game. So, yeah, props to that. But even Kenya, I mean, Rico from the Hardcore Help Foundation is a German guy. He was behind the show, so he organized everything.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to deal with backline. There are no backline rental companies in Kenya, or maybe there are, but they'll charge you European prices maybe for that one band that plays there every year. That made no sense, so they had to kind of borrow stuff here and borrow stuff there, and we were setting up and still waiting for the bass amp, and that had to be picked up at some church gig somebody was doing, and it's a bit more DIY, and you see that in Asia as well sometimes. I mean, China was super well organized. Most venues there have their own backline that you can use. Travel is by train. They don't do tour buses like over here in Europe, or vans or whatever. It's train all the way. So you can only carry the essentials: your guitar, your cymbals, your pedals. That's it. No amps, no nothing. Just use what is provided, and that's usually like really good, actually.
Yeah.
And then you pop across into Philippines or Indonesia, and it really depends on what the local bands are playing. You just use that, and sometimes you're lucky, and sometimes you're not lucky. But then again, hospitality, it's at a different level. It's more of a DIY thing over there. Either they'll cook food for you or bring you into their house and take care of you there, but it's all done with the same level of attention and same level of passion for what we all try to do. So that's awesome.
That's great. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So, as someone who has toured in, if I'm not mistaken, with both Sickerdal and Madball many times,
Sick of it all working once, but
Yeah.
supporting them, before that as well, yeah. And Mabel
So-
many times, yeah.
Multiple times, shall we say. Is there a level where you would say, okay, these guys obviously have legend status in the scene, but for yourself, is that still attainable, or would you say with the level of the music industry being down and everything is so quick these days and every fashion changes so quickly and the taste in music seems to change on a daily basis for the younger guys? Is that still something that's there? Because I don't see any bands in their footstep, to be honest.
Oh, that's a tricky question. I mean, Madball, Sick of It All, they're of the mid '90s boom generation, kinda, like the Dynamo Open Air era bands,
Yeah,
and all those bands are legendary, all of them. Like
yeah.
Machine Head was there, Fear Factory was there, Sick of It All, Madball,
Biohazard.
Biohazard, Dog Eat Dog. They're all legendary in a way. They're the soundtrack to our youth,
Hmm.
you know. And I don't think it was a setup thing. You cannot plan that.
Yeah.
The stars have to align, and then something like that happens.
Hmm.
So is it attainable in that way? No, I don't think so. But it does happen. It absolutely still happens.
Hmm.
I mean, Parkway Drive was late to the party, and look where they're at.
True.
They
Yeah.
started at the same level as we did, playing in front of 100 people if they were lucky, and sometimes 10, 20, sleeping on floors like we did
Yeah.
and still do. But they made it.
Hmm.
And is it marketing? Is it luck? I think a big part of it is just having fun with it still.
Yeah, be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just have fun with what you're doing. It takes up pretty much all of our time.
Hmm.
If we're not having fun doing it,
Why do
move
it?
over and make place for somebody who does want to have fun doing it.
Yeah, right. So you already mentioned that music is basically your full-time employment, if you will, in different capacities.
Mhm.
What would you say is the downside to that, other from being away from home for extended periods of time and missing friendly and close ones?
The downsides of it. It's mentally and physically challenging,
Hmm.
definitely. Like you're stuck in a little tin can on wheels with a bunch of people for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hours a day, and that's taxing. Lack of sleep. Yeah, it's rough. But yeah, I was going to say the money is great, but in all honesty, with All for Nothing, we don't actually make money
Yeah.
at all. Like anything we make goes back into the band and pays for studio time, vans, fuel, videos, because we try to bring a photographer or a videographer occasionally, and we'll pay them a tiny bit,
Hmm.
as much as we realistically can. But in all fairness, it's not enough. Like if I was that photographer, if they were friends, I'd do it, but not because I had to make a living, because
Yeah.
it's just not realistic. I'm bringing home nothing. I got a couple of sets of strings paid for basically every year.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Okay.
So there's if you want to do it for the money, good luck.
Yeah, look for another job, probably.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what you see with European bands that
Yeah.
make it big. Most of them still have a side job
Yeah.
or something, a business or whatever. Like you have to be smart about it. And
Yeah,
get creative.
diversify your income
Yeah.
probably is a good
Yeah, yeah.
method of doing it.
And doing something successfully and is really hard because you have to divide your time.
Yeah, true. And then obviously, as I've already asked about the downside of touring, what do you miss most about not being able to tour at the moment?
Everything. I miss the friendships. I miss the adrenaline.
Mhm.
I miss the teamwork. Like just popping in to a venue and seeing the challenges that lie ahead to make the show work and actually pulling it off and doing a great show. That feeling, that sense of accomplishment, I really miss that. And just after work being done, the van's packed up, the doors close, and you all pop open a beer and hang out for an hour or whatever and just have fun together.
Yeah.
That's definitely something I miss.
To me, it's more than that. It's the friendships I made along the way.
Mhm.
'Cause
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to touring because to me, it's just one big party with a different set of people in each town. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So that's what I miss most.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Yeah, as they say, travel makes you richer.
Yeah.
Like not financially, but yeah, touring, same thing.
Hmm.
You meet so many amazing people, and you can talk to people from around the world about any topic, basically.
Yeah.
So the situation in China and Hong Kong at the moment, I've been keeping up to speed with that because I have some friends over there. Philippines with their president. Been following that since pretty much day one.
Yeah.
The U.S., the whole Trump thing, Obama, yada yada yada. It broadens your perspective
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, it's amazing. I love it, but it also takes up a lot of energy in a way.
Yeah.
Oh, that happened somewhere in the world. It's not just no longer not in your backyard, so you don't have to worry about it. It's, oh, my friends are there.
Yeah.
Shit, So you
Yeah.
actually do worry more, but
Yeah. Obviously.
maybe that's me.
And heading into the whole Corona topic here, do you see that you already mentioned that you don't look at the scene in a scenic kind of way, which I find is a good point to have and a good point to make. But still, with the whole Live Nation contract situation and the ways that probably live music is going to be on hold for a prolonged time. In Germany, they're talking to at least October, maybe December. And after that, it's really uncertain what will happen. So where do you see this whole music thing heading? Is this something that you think about that keeps you worried since so much of your income depends on it?
Yeah, it does have me worried. On one hand, I think music will always be around.
Yeah.
Our specific type of music, our scene. Again, I don't think hardcore is just a style. It's a mindset, and it doesn't matter what type of music you play. You can have a hardcore mindset. But in general, heavy music shows also mean having people close together, having that shared energy, and that's going to be a huge challenge. Right now, they're already doing shows throughout Europe here and there that include social distancing rules, and people get to sit at a table with 1, 2, 3, 4 friends, or you drive your car into a drive-in show. I think that'll definitely keep happening, and that's all fine. But for us, that doesn't solve much.
True.
I don't see a proper hardcore show happening as long as social distancing rules are in place.
Yeah.
And that really worries me because all my friends and colleagues and I mean the guys in Sick of It All, the guys in Madball, they depend on this as well, and they're just not able to play. They're not able to make a living. They're not able to hire a crew. It's going to be rough. And I mean, October, I don't see it happening, man.
Yeah,
I really don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Not for us anyway.
Did you have any specific plans for All for Nothing to continue after the pause, if you want to call it that, or is that something that was in
Yeah,
limbo
well,
still?
the plan was to meet up early summer, which is kind of now-ish, and see what we wanted to do, how to go forward from here. Like, how often are we going to play? Are we going to do a new record or an EP or whatever? But there's no realistic chance we'll be playing before the end of the year. So,
Yeah.
And we don't need to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
So we figured it would be a good moment to still keep that step back and leave it to the people that actually need it right now.
Yeah. But also, there is no writing or anything going on.
No.
Okay.
No. We have no goal set right now. So writing for something that may or may not happen doesn't feel right. And everybody has their life and stuff going on at the moment. So just focus on that 100% and enjoy it, you know?
Yeah.
Nah, no point. I mean, I'm playing a little bass here and there and writing some stuff, and who knows, I might do a side project in the near future just to stay busy, and if it pops off, awesome. But it's mainly staying busy and having fun with it and killing some time.
Yeah. So that
like if I do something new, it better be good, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Like the standards are set pretty high, like playing in All for Nothing and working with bands on that level. Like, I don't want to half-ass anything.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it has to be good.
Yeah. So not being able to play then, what is your typical day? What is your schedule? Since all the things I know you for, and you basically confirmed my belief that all you do is music.
Yeah, I'm literally screwed. The thing is, when I started working for myself, which is pretty much 5 years ago, before that time, I had a bunch of different jobs, sales job, and ended up with a pretty serious burnout. And trying to find a new job wasn't too easy.
Yeah.
I went into this reintegration thing with an organization that tries to help people get back into a job, and that all really did not work out.
Yeah.
And until I said, well, maybe I could start working freelance for myself in music, and they were like, yes, as the last resort. And now the last resort failed. So I really have no clue.
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out what to do right now, and I've been doing some handiwork here and there, helping out some people with chores and whatnot, some small construction or transport or whatever, just staying busy, but it's not a proper source of income. So that is going to be a challenge for the next couple of weeks, months, however long it's going to take.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I have friends from the US who are basically completely screwed. They have no means of income because all they do is music.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, here in Europe, in Holland, for instance, the first 3 months of the crisis, I got a minimum income from the government, no questions asked. It's like, okay, you work freelance in music, you tick these boxes. We're not going to look at your partner's income, just here's your minimum income.
Yeah.
And that was really awesome, and I tried to spend as little as possible.
Yeah. Why?
So it would last me more than 3 months, and it does. So I'm very lucky with that. But now with the new rules, I could theoretically still get unemployment money, but my partner has income, so that automatically renders me, you know. So yeah, we have to live off one income for a little bit.
Yeah, well, let's hope this passes.
I mean, I'm still one of the lucky ones, you know.
Yeah,
Like you said, our friends in other countries might not have social security in a way that their stuff is being paid. Like
Yeah.
I know the Sick of It All guys are struggling. Madball guys are struggling.
Hmm.
They have to live off merch and try to stay creative. I know Lou and Pete are releasing a book together, their biography.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
That's going to be really awesome, and I hope that helps them financially as well. But yeah, there's
So to everyone
no
looking at
pension
this,
fund for those guys, no
yeah,
nothing, you know. So
go buy the book. Don't
go
download
buy
it.
records,
Yeah.
and that's definitely something I'd like to say. There's enough indie distro stuff. Their bands have their own web shops. Buy stuff there. You know, it really helps
Yeah.
out bands and make sure they're still around once the shit is over.
Hmm.
Because once those guys have to find a different source of income and get into a proper job, those bands are gone. You know, the
Yeah.
money's going to be better if you work a proper job. Trust me.
Leading into the last two questions, one thing that I've always taken from you is, I don't know if you remember, but you gave me advice to be more serious about things, and to keep at it and not to give up. You said that to me right when I left $47 million. And is there something similar to what I took from you? To me, you're someone who actually is really passionate and goes for his dream, and then he achieves the dream of going on tour and still expanding the dream. I would assume, since you've never been to the US, that would still be a goal for you. And maybe that, and maybe all 5 continents, who knows? But would you say that anyone has ever given you in your travels some advice that you've really found valuable? And if so, who was it?
Whew. It's going to be tricky to name a specific person, but I've been hanging out with musicians and successful people, or less successful people, but just inspired people since forever. And I always try to take in what people have to say, and sometimes it's useful and sometimes it isn't. But definitely, as you said, being serious about something, yes, absolutely, but being passionate is more important to me anyway. And it's what I always saw in others. So I guess that's where I got it from. I bet people told me a million times, like, have fun with it, and no matter what, just try it, do it.
Yeah,
It'll come. Maybe not in the way that you expect it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sounds very, very, I don't know, the Buddha style. It will come.
Yeah.
I find that to be true in general.
Mm-hmm.
If you put energy into whatever you're doing, it'll get you results.
Yeah, true. And then leading to the very last question, any last words? Because we've already almost talked for an hour.
Have we? Wow.
43 minutes. I have to say it's been what
I mean that if this was a show, I'd say we still have to play for 15 more minutes.
Yeah, true. That's where the seriousness comes in. So,
it's in the contract, man. It's in the contract.
Yeah. No, I mean, the floor is yours. Any last words? I mean, what you said is really true. I mean, I can only repeat, buy from the artist direct if you can, because at the moment it really helps them to save their ass. So
yeah, any last words? Wow. No, not really, but I'll say this. I really hope that it doesn't stop at buying records.
mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got a crazy situation going on in the world right now. We have a global health crisis. We have the Black Lives Matters movement that's getting really strong right now, which is great from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it should be from anybody's perspective, but hey. But there's also I've been doing a lot of reading and listening, and the way we treat each other really needs to change. It really needs to change. I'm not very well versed in the theory behind socialism, capitalism, whatnot. But I do have a fair sense of what's right and wrong, and we really need to be more social.
True.
Really, and not just in "Hey neighbor, how's your day," but in the way we shop, in the way we vote, in our way of life, because that's the only way we're gonna get through this.
Yeah.
And I think now is a very good time to move forward with that.
Yeah, hopefully the world being in a global crisis, such as I've never experienced, I'm sure you never experienced. My biggest fear is that if they find a vaccine and people go back to normal, whatever that then is, it'll be even worse than before, because now the sense of accomplishment will come back. But what did you accomplish? So, I hope.
If so, we mainly got lucky.
Yeah.
Because we had a couple of bright scientists, these populist right-wing assholes that are using the current situation to gain votes, and it sickens me. It really sickens me. It's like here in Holland, you see that with people that are really stuck right now in the current situation. They cannot work properly. The economy is going to shit. And then the big airline gets a lot of money and they're allowed to fly, and social distancing is not a thing for airlines apparently. Like, it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely, it's not fair. But don't it's not about the airline, it's about the whole fucking system.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't need to also not social distance. You need to be taken care of properly.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. That's where it goes wrong. It's the capitalist system, so to speak. That's where it goes wrong. It's all about money. And I get that we have to sacrifice a little bit of our freedom, even maybe wear a mouth mask or be a bit more careful in where you go, make some smarter choices. Yes, that's freedoms we give up for a little bit to get them back eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But most people seem to be more worried about their financial freedom.
Right.
And that's a thing we can solve together.
Right.
Tricky matter.
True. And also really sombering experience, all in all. I mean, we think about playing shows, but what if one of us gets sick? I mean, that would be a worst case scenario for everyone. So I think you said
realistically, it happens all the fucking time on tour. Like, if you're on a nightliner with 2-3 bands and one of them gets the flu, that's really annoying. But now it's getting really dangerous.
Yeah, potentially life-threatening. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm happy I'm not a scientist, but I'll just have to listen to the scientists and try to weed out the pseudo-scientists in this matter, because that's the tricky part.
Yeah. So let's not get into media, because that will. Is there anything that anyone could do for you personally? Is anything you want to plug, to sell, to promote? I've heard rumors about a secret project of yours that might get into fruition someday.
Just keep an open eye and take care of your friends, take care of your family. That's the most important part. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll all see each other once the shit's over. And party double as hard, I guess.
It seems to me that you gained a lot of perspective over the years, which is something that I really appreciate about you. So thanks for this. And let's play you out with probably your favorite All for Nothing video. What do you say?
Ooh, that's a good idea. I'll send you one, and then you can post it.
Perfect.
After the episode.